Hi, and welcome to CSURams.com. Brian Roth with you, along with Mark Driscoll, part of your Colorado State Ram radio team, as CSU gets ready for Wyoming coming up this week. But Mark, take a look back at the last non-conference game last week in Minneapolis against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And CSU loses that contest 31-24, but it was a game in which Colorado State found themselves down nearly the entire way. But you look at it, under 3 minutes to go in the contest, CSU still right there with the football, an opportunity to send that game to overtime.
The Rams showed a lot of character last week, Brian, that this was a pretty physical, tough team, pretty hard-hitting game. Rams got down, kept coming back, made a play, had a great fake punt in the fourth quarter that helped keep them in it, provide a lot of momentum. I think Coach Bobo said it well after the game. He was proud of his team, even though you don't want moral victories, you don't want to say, gee, we got close. But the kids did play really hard and kept fighting.
Yeah, you look offensively, Colin Hill struggled in the first half and quite frankly did not get a lot of protection. In fact, almost got decapitated on one play. But the one thing you really liked about Colin Hill, didn't seem to phase him when he took big hits. Protection got better in the second half. Colin Hill got better in the second half.
We talked about it at halftime about the protection. Rams cleaned it up, especially up the middle. Colin Hill stood in the pocket, and after taking some of the hits he took, just as you say, that takes a little courage. And for a young guy just in his second game playing against a pretty big environment, against a nice, big, strong team, knowing that those ends were coming up hard up the field, he did a nice job standing in there, making his reads and delivering the ball.
Defensively, they get a stop late that they had to have to give the offense the football back. But I know one of the things that we really touched on in the contest was tackling. Now, of course, football practice going on right behind us. Earlier this week, CSU really tried to get back to the basics and work on wrapping up and taking down ball carriers.
Minnesota's a physical team with three good physical backs. They kept them rolling in there, hard runners, but it was really on the Rams for not tackling well. And coaches talk about the fundamentals, blocking and tackling. Sometimes you get now in the fourth game of the season working on growing the offense, doing different things on defense, and maybe forget, a couple tackling drills. Let's talk about wrapping up. Let's talk about driving through them. And the Rams will be improved on tackling. A lot of talk about tackling's effort, but it's also technique and thinking about it.
Colorado State now 2-2, non-conference is over, Mark, and you look at this team. Would Ram fans want to be 4-0? Sure, 3-1, but 2-2. But I think this is a football team from what we saw in the season opener, which obviously didn't go the way any of us wanted to go against Colorado, to what we saw last week. This is a football team, in my eyes, that is making big strides and major improvements.
One of the things you want to look for teams, conditioning, mental errors, those kind of things, but are they getting better? The Rams are clearly getting better. The effort last week showed that they're on track with the coaches. They're believing, they're playing hard. They have improved each and every week. And now with the conference season starting, it's time.
Yep. And it's going to open up at the border war,
Yeah,
right? No better
that?
way to open up coming up Saturday night, Sunny Lubick Field at Hughes Stadium at an 8:15 kickoff to open up conference play. It's a Wyoming team coming in just like the Rams, sitting at 2-2 in the season, coming off a loss on the road at Eastern Michigan that I know they were not happy about. Let's break down the Cowboys a little bit. Offensively, it starts with the run game. It starts with Brian Hill. He was the 8th leading rusher in the nation last year. This year, numbers falling off a little bit, but he's still averaging over 115 yards per game.
He's their go-to guy. He's a terrific back. Speaking of hard runners and somebody that the Rams are going to have to square up on, drive their shoulder into and wrap up, he will break tackles, gets a lot of yards after first contact. He's been a superior back of the last couple of years. He's clearly the guy that the Rams need to stop. Eastern Michigan slowed him down last week. He only had 84 yards, something like that. And so they kind of took him out of the game and therefore control the Wyoming offense.
Yeah, because Colorado State really did a great job against Brian Hill last year in that 26-7 victory up in Laramie. Josh Allen, the quarterback, he's a redshirt sophomore, very accurate passer. Tanner Gentry, their leading receiver. Defensively, they had a freshman All-American last year, and Andrew Wingard playing safety. He's their leading tackler, but it's a Cowboy defense that has given up a lot of yards through the air, possibly an area Colorado State might be able to exploit.
The Wyoming defense runs the Tampa 2, 4-3 defense, 2 deep safeties, rolled up corners. And it's interesting, one of the reasons why Steve Stannard, the defensive coordinator, worked for Coach Sonny Lubick here at Colorado State, Tampa 2 defense. So he's continued with that. they're a little predictable on defense. And Wingert is a terrific football player. This guy's got a chance to play for a long time in his career. But the coverage is predictable. They pretty much line up the same way and dare the offense to throw the ball. And the Rams, if they can get a little protection, should be able to figure out this coverage and throw the ball a lot on Saturday night.
Yeah, you talk about Steve Stannard, former defensive coordinator here at Colorado State, now the DC at Wyoming.
Yeah.
The current defensive coordinator here at Colorado State, Marty English, former defensive coordinator at Wyoming. It's funny how that type of stuff works. All right, should be fun coming up Saturday night. Again, expecting a sold-out Sonny Lubick Field at Hughes Stadium as Colorado State looking for their 4th consecutive win over the Wyoming Cowboys. For my broadcast partner, Mark Driscoll, I'm Brian Roth saying so long. See you Saturday night in Fort Collins.
Step.